Alright guys, I saw a post from a crazy FB blogger doing some ranting or gibberish about the future PM of Singapore. And this is what he put out. Can you have confidence in someone to lead when he says he's not ready to be a PM? And also that Giorgia Meloni, the new Italian PM, has never been in the government and has led her party only since 2014. Should never be a government and can become a PM. I also talk about Italy is much larger than Singapore. It's simply shit. Who wants to have someone inexperienced to lead Singapore? So what if Lawrence Wong says he wasn't ready to be the Prime Minister? Then we shall wait until he's ready. At this point, how Singapore has been progressing, we should know that being a Prime Minister in Singapore is not like what Tin, Low and Harry can be. I'm not pointing at Harry Lee. He's different, alright? It takes years to train a person to become a Prime Minister, a very important position. We already see what happened to Malaysia and other countries has become, right? Because all the Prime Ministers keep on changing. And for a person to be trained as a Prime Minister, 10 years may not be enough. Even 20 years, not enough. Like Lee Hsien Loong, for example. It took him 20 years to become Prime Minister since entering the Parliament. But how long is Lawrence Wong? He's only 10 years or so. And when Lee Hsien Loong was a Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew, Harry Lee, didn't fully trust him to run Singapore, so he got Giorgia to watch over him, to make sure he is at least okay. Hence, it has been many decades before he could become a completely trustworthy, but not yet perfect Prime Minister of Singapore. You know, strike iron until it's become as tough as gold or diamond. As for Lawrence Wong now's situation, it's not tough yet. So why should we worry that Lawrence Wong is not ready to be the next Prime Minister and then compare him to a young woman, Giorgia Meloni, whose country is much easier to run? It's not fair at all. Because the bigger the country is, the easier it's for someone to manage. Why do I say that? Because if one part of the country is destroyed, they have other parts to support. This is the reason why we are seeing a lot of poor people suffering in many parts of Italy, especially the southern part. However, it's not like this in Singapore. Singapore is just Singapore. And when we say there's north, south, east and west of Singapore, we are just comforting ourselves. If one day Singapore falls, means it falls literally and totally. And there's only one state in Singapore, and that is Singapore. There's no second chance if one day Singapore falls and becomes a slum. And millions of lives depend on this so small country. It's so as fragile as a vase. This is why the Prime Minister of Singapore is so important. We don't want a Prime Minister who can still go to bars or some clubs for pole dancing during the pandemic, or someone who was a comedian playing piano, right? Moreover, Singapore is not measured by its size or populations, but its value and importance to the world. It's about its economy and wealth. Singapore is considered a very wealthy country, and it's the Prime Minister's responsibility to ensure its value so that it will not become a slum island. So when Lawrence Wong said that he was not really ready, it's a responsible person who knew what would happen if he suddenly jumped into become the Prime Minister. With great powers come with great responsibility. Capiche? Remember, subscribe, like, and share.